Thank you, everybody, for coming back to the Riggs Beast channel. As always, let's go beast on that subscribe button. Let's go beast on that like button. And let's go beast on this Monday Night Raw review, which came to you from Long Island, New York, the Superstar shakeup. Now, if you read the rumor mill and you follow it for weeks and you follow it all the time, well, Raw was basically ruined for you. And to be honest, there's not much to this Raw other than that. So there's not much to talk about tonight. Raw was pretty boring, let's just put it to you like that. But there were some good moments, and we're going to talk about some implications. Now, to start the show, we get 2 SmackDown arrivals to Raw. Cena's music hits. For only a second, I put my head down and said, no, this can't be happening. Wait, it's The Miz. And it was The Miz and Maurice. They come down to the ring, playing the Cena gimmick. Miz does his Cena house rule number 1, having the crowd cannot chant Cena sucks, so the crowd chants Cena sucks. Says they were going to go to Hollywood, but Hollywood didn't want us. Cue the Intercontinental Champion, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, now a part of Raw. Number 1, this puts all the Shield guys on Raw. They can use that down the road. Number 2, don't you feel a little bit like Baron Corbin gets shafted here? That rivalry was going well. WWE messed it up right before Mania. Then it gets moved to the pre-show. Corbin wins a match on SmackDown. And that's the end of it? Kind of disappointing for Corbin. Really should have gotten the Intercontinental belt out of this. But since the Intercontinental Champion is now on Raw, you kind of get where I'm going with this. My belief now is that Kevin Owens is going to SmackDown Live, bring the U.S. belt over there. So most likely the trade was Ambrose for Owens. They're going to have a match, by the way, to end the night. There's a couple weird things that happened. This show, like I said, was boring and confusing, and we'll get to that. But the end of this segment got dumb. Dean was poking fun at Cena's acting like that was really Cena and Nikki. Miz and Maurice get mad, saying, you don't know, it's us. And Dean, dirty deeds, Miz, end of the segment. Moving on. Like I said, it got dumb. Sami Zayn comes into Kurt Angle's office. He wants to know where he's going. He's nervous. He thought SmackDown Live a few weeks ago, but now with no more Stephanie, like Stephanie McMahon isn't coming back. Now that it's Kurt Angle, he wants to be on Raw. They continue to make him look goofy. I don't like it. I think it's hurting him long term, but we'll see what changes. Kurt tells him, SmackDown Live has a lot of interest. He wants to quantify the interest of Sami Zayn until the Miz comes in. Miz interrupts. They get into a spat. Kurt Angle books Sami Zayn versus the Miz. Great. The Revival versus the New Day. Now, the reason I say it like that, number 1, if this was a feud that was going to last any longer, they don't do the match again this week. So this was the end of it. Number 2, Kofi's out for a period of time. And number 3, one of these teams is going to SmackDown and not the debuting team. Let's get right through it. The Revival win this match. A sick shatter machine is done on Xavier Woods. When Big E is moved out of the way, he jumps they're doing their finisher, and he gets hit, and it looked like he got hit hard in it. 1, 2, 3. Revival wins. Welcome to SmackDown Live. New Day. I think it's a nice change-up. SmackDown can sorely use the help. Next, you're going to get into an interview by Neville. Why are they having more than 2-minute backstage segments? Why? The interview is interrupted by TJ Perkins saying he can beat him. Neville tells him to look in the mirror because his career is pathetic and he's a joke, but Neville's the only one that has respect for him. Nobody else does. Aries then comes in, talks to Perkins saying you can't really buy what he's saying. Perkins looks conflicted. I wonder what's going to happen. I really wonder what's going to happen with TJ Perkins tonight. Can we all take a guess? You're just going to have to wait to see if your guess was correct. Next, we're going to get Curt Hawkins' debut. Hooray! The resident jobber is now Curt Hawkins. I've got $10, says Jinder Mahal's on SmackDown tomorrow night. Anyway, Curt Hawkins issues a welcoming challenge. Out comes the Big Show. He gets knocked out. End of the segment. Like I said, your new resident jobber, Curt Hawkins. Austin Aries versus TJ Perkins is next. Neville's on the commentary. Now this was hilarious. This was the second funniest moment of the night for me. He compliments Graves on his journalism. Cole then asks if he could play journalist for a second. And Neville just goes, nope. It didn't even sound like he had his English accent. Just literally hearing Cole say journalism, nope. It was great. It really was hilarious. And I don't think it was meant to be funny, but it came off hilarious. Back to the match. Midway through, Aries is going to mock Neville, which gets Neville to come down. Aries is then distracted. He almost gets counted out. Runs back in the ring. Gets rolled up by Perkins. 1, 2, 3. TJ Perkins wins. And a shocker. TJ Perkins attacks Austin Aries. Turns heel, which is going to benefit Perkins. He really, really needs to get away from the gimmick he's in right now. My God. There was honestly a smattering of boos and a "you still suck" chant, which is not good. But him playing a heel now can hopefully resurrect him, because right now he's dead in the water. If he doesn't get through with this, he is dead in this company. Honestly, the entire cruiserweight division needs a ton of work. An absolute ton of work. I could do a whole show on how much help the cruiserweight division needs. I wonder if I have a show where I can talk about that. Maybe stay tuned for Let's Talk Wrestling this Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern, weekly. Next segment on the show, Seth Rollins' fate is determined. Now, I put on Twitter, and you guys are smart enough to realize this. The way they're doing this is just randomly showing up. Supposedly they're doing trades. Later in the night, they completely counteract that. But if they're supposedly doing trades, why would they have a segment with Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins isn't going to SmackDown. That is basically the point of half of this segment. He sells the match with Triple H. He thanks the fans for giving him a second chance, and that he's just getting started on Raw. He's got a feud with Samoa Joe. He wants to go after the Universal title, but he's not sure if he can do that. He shows Steph going through the table. He compares going to SmackDown Live to being the easy way out, like he took before, and he won't do that again. Kurt Angle comes out. Kurt Angle says that, yes, Stephanie McMahon wants to get rid of you. And I would have done it 2 weeks ago, but what I saw you at Mania is I saw a one-legged man win an ass-kicking contest. I love the ode to JR. I love the line. Angle shakes his hand, gets out of the ring. Samoa Joe attacks. Angle was trying to break it up. For a second, I kind of thought Angle was going to attack Rollins. It looked kind of weird. Rollins gets the upper hand. You're going to have your Rollins-Joe feud. It's going to be good. Hopefully they don't continue to sell the knee, because Rollins-Joe by itself is a phenomenal matchup. Next, we go to a Kevin Owens interview. He's selling the beating him and Joe gave Jericho last week. He calls himself the #1 champ on Raw because he is the champion and the face of America, and then slowly says this is the Kevin Owens show. Kevin Owens, most likely SmackDown Live bound. It just seems too obvious about this. Too obvious. You'll see also why later in the night as well. Next, we have Charlotte versus Nia. Now, this match looked like a mess up after a mess up, or it was just very physical. Could be both, could be neither. But Nia did appear to mess up a move very early, which she dumped Charlotte on her head. It looked like it messed her up for a bit, but she was okay. Randomly, I thought I saw Elias Sampson walking through the crowd. The Drifter from NXT. Just walking through the crowd. My wife's favorite wrestler. Love you, honey. Which took the crowd's attention for a bit and took away from more than half the match. They didn't come back until Charlotte does a moonsault from the top rope to the outside, and it looked like Charlotte's knee caught Nia on the side of the head and the shoulder, so she looked like she got messed up for a minute. Like I said, very physical, either mess-ups or just physical. One of the two, could be both, could be neither. I think it's both. The end of this match is Nia is able to kick out of the natural selection, and Nia wins with a Samoan drop. Welcome to SmackDown Live, Charlotte. We're going to talk a little bit more of that in a minute. But yes, Charlotte's now, she's going to SmackDown. Guaranteed, confirm that. Next up, you have Jinder Mahal and Finn Balor. Balor wins. Was there any question with that? The only thing I want to talk about with this match is that Jinder connected with a stiff forearm that looked like it knocked Balor silly. It looked like he was knocked out for a second. He fell face first into the mat. He went on roid rage. That's all I can say. He saw Balor. I don't know what happened. That roid rage kicked in of Mahal, and he wanted to kill what was in front of him. God, you got to get him off the roids. He diets like no one else. Yup. With the needle sticking out of his arse. But at the end of this match, as Balor celebrating, Bray Wyatt comes on the Tron. Bray Wyatt is now a part of Raw. He talked about having the match with Randy Orton on Payback, which caught me off guard. This was a Raw exclusive pay-per-view, but now we're going to have a SmackDown guy defend the WWE title on a Raw pay-per-view. Keep that in mind. He then tells Balor to watch himself because he will be. Now, Finn Balor going to SmackDown is not out of the question. They're ending feuds quickly. They could just be doing this to tease you. I don't personally think they're going to put Balor on SmackDown, but it wouldn't also surprise me. So I'm going to look out for that one. If AJ is going to stay heel, Balor going over may make sense. Nakamura may wind up being your top babyface behind Orton. To most wrestling fans, he may be ahead of Orton, but that's where this could be going if Styles isn't turning babyface. Now they announced that Rhino and Slater, Kalisto, are also on Raw besides Apollo Crews. Great. Fantastic. Either going to be in catering, cruiserweight division, or random matches. Like we said before, a lot of these things are mid-carders, just swapping around, gauges excitement, not much going on there. Next, Miz versus Sami Zayn. Once again, the Blue Thunder Bomb does not end a match. Can it end one match? Just one match. Can he beat Kurt Hawkins? Well, Sami Zayn's going to be on SmackDown. Can he beat Jinder Mahal with the Blue Thunder Bomb? Can he do that, please? Just one time. Make it a serious move. Maurice protects Miz several times in the match. Nice little heel stuff. Zayn's going to counter the skull-crushing finale. 1, 2, 3. Zayn wins, which is interesting because almost everybody believes Zayn's going to be on SmackDown. And most of the guarantees that go to SmackDown lost tonight on Raw. So does this mean that Zayn isn't going to SmackDown? No. Zayn is the one guy going over that would need the win more than anybody else. And Miz is the one guy that could take a loss more than anybody else. I still think Zayn goes, but that one was a little interesting. Now, for the lull moment of the night, the Roman Reigns sit-down interview with Michael Cole that lasted about 10 seconds, and the beating that lasted about 10 hours. The only question that gets asked by Michael Cole. He's asked if he feels remorse over ending Undertaker's career. Reigns calls it bittersweet. Talks about respecting The Undertaker. Babyface, Roman, it's what he's going to answer. Talks about it being his yard. Then Braun Strowman attacks. And here we go. He throws him over a table. Then he throws him around for a bit. Then he does his running power slam on a steel crate. Then he rams a steel crate into Roman while he's against the wall. They're now strapping Roman to a gurney. They come back from break. Braun then comes back, grabs Roman on the gurney, throws him off a truck loading dock. Now the chance of "you deserve it." You can hear the crowd chanting, "you deserve it." Then, as Roman is getting loaded into the ambulance, guess what? Braun attacks again. This is honestly funny. He attacks again, punches him a few times, closes all the doors. Then, TV tricks aside, Braun then flips over an ambulance. He is the Hulk. That's what we're making Braun Strowman. I'm surprised he didn't turn big and green. He is the Hulk. Now at this point, Roman is now taken away in a real ambulance. The crowd starts chanting, "Hey, hey, hey, goodbye." They feel nothing for Roman. This was hilarious. The beatdown got worse and worse. And instead of sympathy, you just started laughing. And I put this on Twitter. Did anybody feel like he was going to make the babyface comeback by 11? Like, they talk about him having cracked ribs, maybe a separated shoulder. I fully expect Roman next week on Raw to be perfectly fine. Maybe have a scratch, because that's Roman. That's how they're booking Roman. And that's what I expect. Maybe he'll be gone a week. Maybe. Now, next up, an 8-man tag match. We all know, who follow this channel, how much I love 10 and 8-man and sometimes 6-man tag matches. Gallows and Anderson with the Shining Stars versus Sheamus, Cesaro, and Hardys. Only thing that was funny, that was Elias Sampson earlier, because Elias Sampson was walking along the top ramp. By the way, Sheamus, Cesaro, and the Hardys win. I know I predicted Enzo and Cass to go to SmackDown, which, by the way, they weren't even on this show. They were only shown really quick conversating with Seth Rollins. But doesn't it feel like the club need to go to SmackDown? Doesn't it really feel like they need to go? Like, I'm going to be frank here. I feel like the club Enzo and Cass and the New Day all need to go to SmackDown. And they're all not. But with Enzo and Cass not being on this show, it's either the club or Enzo and Cass. My prediction now, if AJ Styles is staying on SmackDown, I think the club goes over. I think Enzo and Cass are going to stay, which is unfortunate because there's not a lot for them to do right now, but they can feud probably with the Revival, refeud that from NXT. There's a few things they can do with them. Next up, you have Dana Brooke reading how to be your own protege. Why? 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 Why are we still even bothering with her? Please put her back in NXT. In fact, I don't even know why she's still employed. She's that bad. She adds no balance to either show. None. Emma comes in, acts like she controls Dana, though. Honestly, who cares? Dana refuses it. She's going to stand on her own 2 feet now, walks away. Emma looks pissed. Who cares? Really, who cares? Now, Sasha's going to come out next and announce Bayley, but says she has unfinished business and calls her just Bayley, which, if you remember, is what she called Bayley in NXT when she was a heel. And I was 100% convinced that Sasha was going to turn heel. And I think they were teasing it again heavily. But Bayley's in the ring. She starts admitting that what she's about to say is cheesy, but she's talking about her 12-year-old self having her Mania moment and how her dreams came true. Sasha then congratulates Bayley on her moment, but then says that her moment is over. The crowd starts cheering. They want Sasha to turn heel. Sasha's got to turn heel, and she's going to. But as she's about to ask for a title, here comes Alexa Bliss. Like I said, if you read rumors or you followed anything, it was all of it was spoiled. Bliss comes out, asks if they could be any more nauseating, talks herself up, which is perfect. Mickie James then comes out. Mickie starts putting over herself. Nia James attacks. Nia puts them all down. Nia then puts Bayley down with the Samoan drop, holds up the belt. So Bliss and Mickie James come over, which means 2 women are going to go over to SmackDown. Charlotte is one. My prediction is it has to be Sasha. And here's why. If Nia held up the belt, put her down, Nia's the next in line for a title match. It's where they're going to go with this. Nia beating Charlotte also, perfect segue into it. This leaves Sasha with not a lot to do. Do you do a Sasha-Alexa Bliss feud? Nah. I mean, they might have a good match. But Sasha, at this point, would be better off going to SmackDown. So my prediction is that Sasha Banks and Charlotte will be on SmackDown tomorrow night. They then go to a recap of the 10-minute Roman beatdown. I got my lulls again. And then Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. Now, this was your main event, but I want to bring up something they said. They actually said on commentary, and I quote, "I wonder what Shane and Daniel Bryan are thinking right now. I thought these were trades. They were going back and forth with Kurt Angle, so what the hell? What is that about? Why would you say that if this is not supposed to be just random things? And if it's random picks, why would you pick guys like Kurt Hawkins and Rhino and Slater? One of these things is not like the other. This is the kind of stuff. These are the kind of little loopholes that you say that you think are going to pass by that really just make the guys who listen sigh and give them the fodder to go after you. Why would you even say that line on television? It just makes your whole deal you're trying to book look like nonsense. And that's what it looks like now. Just random nonsense. For the match itself, though, it's a very good match, but there's nothing on the line, and it felt like a way to send Owens off. Dean Ambrose is going to beat Kevin Owens clean in the ring with dirty deeds. Clean in the ring. Jericho's going to come out after this. He's going to hit a code breaker on Owens. Now, remember we talked about earlier how Bray Wyatt is going to be in that House of Horrors match against Randy Orton at Payback, even though Randy Orton is on SmackDown as the champion and Bray is on Raw? They're definitely going with Kevin Owens and Jericho. Jericho came back. They booked the match again. So Kevin Owens can very easily go to SmackDown and still be on this pay-per-view as Jericho's the Raw guy, but Kevin Owens is the SmackDown guy, but they already booked the match. And where does this leave Finn Balor? Yes, Bray Wyatt interrupted him, but Bray Wyatt's in a feud with Randy Orton. So Finn Balor sits back a few weeks? There's a lot of unanswered questions. The shakeup's going to happen continuing tomorrow. We'll see what they do. They're just going to match, to be honest with you. Mid-Carter for mid-Carter. You'll have a two bigger names, one being Kevin Owens. We'll see who the other one is. And that's it. That was Raw. Raw was a 5 tonight. It was boring. It was average. It was just to get you through this superstar shakeup. They're ending feuds early. They're congesting Payback, which is supposed to be Raw exclusive, but is now going to have SmackDown guys. They should have just made this. With Vince's announcement, they should have just made this a multi-brand pay-per-view. They really should have. And maybe they will. Who knows? I doubt it, but that's really what they should have done. So the superstar shakeup right now is just a congested mess. It just looks like complete randomness. You don't see trades. You don't see anything happening. They're even mentioning on Raw, I wonder what Shane and Daniel Bryan are thinking, like Kurt Angle's just picking guys off their roster, but he picks a guy like Curtis Hawkins. Like, it makes no sense. Those are the things that bother me when it comes to things like this. And you got to think about these little nuances that just kill everything you're doing. So like I said, Raw's a 5 out of 10. Had decent matches. Nothing shocking happening tonight at all. Rumor mill was correct on everything. AJ Styles did not come to Raw, which after seeing who came over from SmackDown, probably a better idea that he stayed. I'm hoping SmackDown delivers a better show than Raw, but we'll have to wait till tomorrow night to find that out. But as for tonight, that was your official Monday Night Raw review. And as always, let's go beast on that subscribe button. Let's go beast on that like button. And as always, guys, keep it beast.